Hi Laura, how are you?
Good, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
No problems. I just finished an interview on CITR, the campus radio station in Vancouver. So
Oh, nice. So happy release day.
thank you. Very
How is
exciting.
it? What is a release day like?
It's kind of anticlimactic because I do so much work to get to that spot of like, yay, we finally released it, and then it's just wait around and see what happens. But we are celebrating with a show tonight, so
Yeah,
and we have friends coming, so yeah, it's exciting to finally get it out
yeah,
there.
that'd be fun. Yeah, especially because it's been a long time coming. This record, it's been like years in the works, I guess you could say.
Yeah, 4 years. I'd say almost 4 years. The last one was September 2019, full length. Yeah, right before everything fell apart.
Yeah, well, we should talk about that because, like, obviously the world has changed, but
Yeah,
your world especially has changed.
yes.
So, for people who don't know about the history of your band, can you talk a little bit, just kind of run us through it a little bit and what happened during the pandemic?
Okay, sure. So it started off as a solo project for me. It's been around for almost 20 years now. I just been writing and recording and releasing albums under Down the LEES and just doing it myself. And then I moved to Belgium in 2015 with my girlfriend, and I started to realize how amazing the rock scene out in Belgium is because we live in Ghent and it's like the capital of noise rock out there. So it inspired me to get some new band members, so to start playing live. So I found some new band members, and we ended up writing an album. And then we flew to Chicago and recorded it with Steve Albini, and then we released it, and then the pandemic happened. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess we have to move back to Canada to take care of our family and stuff. So we moved to the Okanagan Valley in Canada, and I was trying to get my footing and figure out what I was going to do as an artist. I thought I was going to throw in the towel and just not do it anymore. But then I decided, well, you know what? Music actually is keeping me alive. So I kept on writing, and I found two new guys in the Okanagan Valley to play music with. And we wrote this music and recorded it with Jesse Gander in Vancouver. And now it's being released.
It is. People are listening to it right now.
They are.
When's the last time you listened to it?
Oh, probably in my car when I got the CDs to make sure the CD was okay.
Right.
Because we're just releasing it on CD. We didn't release it on vinyl, and we didn't want to just do digital. And it was a cheap way to do it to have some kind of tangible thing in our hands. So,
Yeah. So if you listen to it today, do you think you would listen to it differently now that it's out in the world?
uh, no, I still listen to it with holy cow, we rock. And we did that. We did that. I feel the same.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
one of the lyrics, you talk about being a different girl when you
Yeah.
were the other side of the world.
Yes.
Do you feel different
Yes.
to that chapter of your life?
Yes.
In what way?
Um, I've had to go through a lot of battle scars, just because I felt like finally my career was going somewhere. After trudging away at it since the mid 90s. I actually had a Riot Girl band in the 90s. And so I've been trudging away for such a long time and finally had some headway and was doing some really great things, and then it got pulled away from me, and having that hurdle to get over, and also well, I was happy with my life in Belgium, and then transplant myself over here and figure out what I'm going to do and take care of family, um and I kind of go, oh, what if we move back to Belgium? But that was 5 years ago, Laura, or 4 years ago, Laura. It's a totally different Laura, and I miss that. I miss that person, but I can't just step back into those shoes. So yes, I'm different, in bad ways, but also in great ways. I've made some significant strides in the last year, that I feel pretty proud of. So yeah,
I think the music kind of concentrates on some of the
yeah,
hard stuff that you've been through.
yeah.
Let's talk about some of the positive stuff. Like
Okay.
you say you've changed in great ways. How do you feel like you've improved as a person?
For me, I have improved as a musician, because the guys that I found to play with are amazing. The drummer, Andy Ashley, he used to be in hardcore bands in the early 2000s, and he plays in a metal band, and he's just very proficient and very technical, and he challenges me. And the bass player Andy Ashley used to tour with Tegan and Sarah around the world for years.
Hi.
And so he has his chops. So I felt like, oh, I need to step up. I need to step up. And so they made me want to be a better musician. And I think that is what makes this record shine, is that the chemistry we have, really showcases the feel that we have, which is something that musicians have when they play together. You can't really describe it, you can't put it down into words, but it's just a feel. And I feel like we have that. So that's how I've improved as a musician. And also because during the lockdowns and by myself, I would just play music all the time. There was nothing else I could do, so I just played music.
What about as a person, like the journey before the pandemic? Has that changed how you want to live moving forward since then?
Yeah, I'm more, I mean, let's be honest, I'm feeling more pessimistic about the world. It's hard for me to feel positive in terms of where we're going in society, especially with climate change and climate disaster that's heading our way, especially because we live in a region where the wildfires are rampant. So I feel like I want to give back a little bit more, which is why we decided to donate portions of our merchandise to the BC Wildfire Recovery Fund, to try to help our environment, and also, doing fundraisers for DIY event centers. So it hasn't really changed me in a person so much like that, because I've always wanted to do that, and I've always kind of prided myself on DIY ethics and to help out my community. So I've done that a little bit more. But I'm also quite aware of the mental struggle that I have, and I feel like I'm a little bit more resilient because of the music I write, because I find it to be therapeutic for me, and to always fall back on that. If I have a really tough time, just go, music will help you, music will help you, just write, just do it. So I do it. So I'm kind of leaning into that a little bit more. So personally, I think that I've increased my resilience with. Yeah.
You say music helps you, and obviously it helps the listener as well, being able to relate to some of the stuff that you go through.
Yeah.
But how does it make you feel when you're singing these songs on stage, like night after night, like kind of reliving the stuff that you've been through?
It's different than if I'm playing it in my studio here, by myself, and I'm really reliving the lyrics. If I'm playing it live, I'm really diving into the music and the feeling of the music, and the responsiveness of the crowd, and feeding off the energy off the crowd. So it depends on where I am that day. If I'm, if I'm in a bad state, or if I'm in a really good state. If I'm in a bad state, I have anxiety when I'm singing some of the songs. Some of them I choose not to play because I just don't want to sing them. But for the most part, I just feed off the crowd and the energy that we get from the crowd.
This record is 28 minutes long. Technically, it's an EP.
I know people say it's a long EP, it's a short album,
Yeah. Like, was there any thought about adding a few more songs, like, or maybe waiting until you had an album to put out?
Well, initially it was just going to be an EP, a 5-song EP, because we went to Vancouver and recorded those songs with Jesse Gander. The last 2 songs, Dead and Over and Since Leaving on Rose, I did myself, and those were the ones I did before I met Andy and Chris. So I felt like I wanted to throw those on that album just because it was part of the journey to get where we are now, and I didn't want those 2 songs to be left in the ether somewhere. They were released like before as singles, but I felt like they needed to have another new life. So that's why we added them on. So we're like, oh yeah, it's kind of an in between EP and EP and album, I mean. But we're gonna work on a full length. That's our next thing.
Okay, are you already starting on that?
Yeah, we started throwing around some ideas, but I think that's going to be our summer, is going to be working on some new material.
Okay, so at this point in the journey of the next record, what do you want it to be?
I want it to be the path to playing some shows and touring in Europe. That's the path that I want it to be. I want to, of course, explore. I feel like my vulnerability as an artist and touching on topics that society is having difficult times with, it really resonates with me. So I'll continue doing that. But I want to do that and then also expand our fan base a little bit more and get back to Europe, because I was playing around in France and the Netherlands and all that stuff when we were asked to go on tour with Sisters of Mercy in Italy, and I kind of want to pick that up again. We just needed to ramp it up a little bit more. So that's the idea for us for next year, is try to getting out to Europe and touring more over there. Yeah.
When I listen to this album, there seems to be influences from like all over the place.
All of it.
I can't quite pin it down. So can you tell me a little bit about your journey as a listener? Like what albums inspired you throughout your growing up?
Oh yeah, it's just all over the place. I mean, PJ Harvey, I'd say, is probably my number one, because she inspired me to actually start recording. I didn't think I was able to, but as soon as I heard 4-track demos that she did, where she just recorded them herself and they're just 4 tracks, I was like, oh my God, I can do that. So I had like a cassette tape Tascam cassette recorder in my dinky little bachelor pad, and I would just record these 4-track demos myself. And so she really inspired me. Then I started listening to more noise rock stuff, like Unwound from Portland, which is a noise rock band, and of course Nirvana when I was, a teen, and I first heard that for the first time in the bar. I was like, what the heck is this? So those kind of influenced me, but I also love like trip hop stuff, like Massive Attack and Portishead, and the ethereal kind of stuff, which is why, for instance, in Douse, I do some really high-pitched kind of falsetto singing, and then I go into a growl. Like, I love the dichotomy and the discord that happens. I like putting those two together, which is why I feel like noise rock and trip hop and, pop songs and kind of putting them together, it's such a weird confluence of genres and influences that I think it just is very interesting to me.
Interesting you mentioned Portishead and Massive Attack, because I was in Bristol once and went to a show where those two bands played back to back.
Oh man.
And it was in like a 1,600 capacity place, not a huge place.
Not huge.
And they have one song that's got the same backing track. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's how they went from one band to the other. Yeah, it was like goosebumps.
And that's the kind of music and bands I want to see, where you're like, what just happened? Yeah. Your heart skips a beat, right?
Yeah.
Magical.
Yeah. It's on YouTube somewhere. You can find it on YouTube somewhere.
Okay, cool.
Like 2005 it was.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a long time ago. What about new music? Do you pay attention to what's around at the moment?
Oh yeah, I do. Because I also have a record label called Off White House Records. It's an artist record label, an artist collective record label. I started it as the pandemic was starting. My friend from Belgium recorded an album in her house and said, I need help releasing it. I said, okay, I'll put it on my label, which I basically was just releasing my bands on it for years, and just that's how I had it. But then I decided to open it as a collective. And so then when I did that, bands started reaching out to me, and I have a really awesome band called Bronson Arm, which is a 2-piece noise rock band. Les, which is a 3-piece from France, 2 basses and a guitar player or a drummer. Haze, which is Miravel Mandeput, and she did the artwork for Dirt for the album of
I was going to
ours.
ask you about that.
Yeah, yeah. And Blake from Bronson are mastered dirt. So I, we bring on bands, and that's how I get to learn about new stuff. But I also am really interested in. That's the one thing I like about streaming, because they kind of feel that feed the algorithm to things they know that I will like. And I've been gravitating towards a lot more post metal, post rock stuff like Brutus, because we played with them
Yeah.
in Vancouver, and I've been really loving Idols. I've been really loving Mannequin Pussy. I've been, stuff like that. So I do like new stuff. Yeah.
Well, have you heard the band English Teacher? Have you heard their name?
No.
They're a British band. They just put an album out recently, and they're going to be opening for Idols when they come to Canada.
Oh.
So yeah, you should check them out. Really cool band.
Okay, cool. I will for
I'm
sure.
listening to them a lot.
Yeah.
So you've got a release show tonight, so
Yeah.
I won't keep you too long. And a few other shows, and then you say you're gonna be thinking about the album.
Yeah.
Anything else planned for the summer?
Yeah, we're gonna actually do a music video for Dirt. We have a whole idea for that, because the music video for Douse, it won Best Song at the Okanagan Screen Awards,
Yeah.
and we want to
Sorry, I
work
should
with
have
the
mentioned that.
yeah. And so we're like, oh, let's do it again. But we're working with the same director, and we have a really great idea for it. So yeah, I think it's new music and a music video, and maybe releasing a single here or there this year.
Cool. Sounds
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Very exciting. We got lots of stuff on the go, so we're very excited.
Excellent. Well, I hope you make it out this side of Canada at some point as well. We'd love to
Yes,
see you in
for sure.
Montreal.
We do want to come out to Montreal and Toronto and do a little tour out there. We'll see what the grants look like. We're applying for all of the grants. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll happen. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, I have to say I love the record. Like
Thank you.
I'm not just saying that. It's definitely down my street, that kind of sound.
Awesome. I can see it with a review that you did. I'm like,
Oh
he
yeah.
listened to it. He listened to it.
Yeah, so but it feels like a record that needs to be played live. So I'm excited.
Yes,
Live.
yes, it is. It's really great live. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck with everything that's coming up. Have fun tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank
And,
you very much. I really appreciate it.